Am I plugged in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Oh, thanks everybody. So what I'm going to do today is go through the history of the business. There's a lot of new faces here, and it's great to see so many new people. I was just saying to Nick at morning tea, God, I'm struggling to know everybody, so it's great to see a whole lot of new people coming here. So I'll go through where we've been and what we've been doing, and where it all started, and hopefully you'll get a message on both tradition and technology. Megan rang me and asked me if I'd speak, and are we focused on tradition and technology? Well, of course, in a business like ours, we're both. We still try and make traditional products, but we have to use technology to be efficient to compete in the marketplace. The Hellas brand is well known for its trust and integrity and its innovation and honesty, and this is followed up by research that we do, of course, with Brenda Snook of Field Connections, and we endeavour to keep the brand rolling through Kiwiana because of our private ownership with myself and Nick and the Rangatira Group. I'll get to that as I go through it. So, just bear with me while I flicker over. I opened the shop in February 1985. Bought the shop from a guy called Gordon Telfer, who, Gordon, lovely guy, but he was a single bloke and liked to knock off at 3 o'clock and go down to the pub and smoke all day. So, and he had this shop in the most, I can tell you now, it was arguably the best spot in New Zealand, and he wanted 4 times more than it was worth. It was in New Brighton in 1985, the only area in New Zealand apart from Johnsonville that was able to sell meat 7 days a week. It was on the sunny side of the street, and the weekends in New Brighton you just couldn't move. And here was the shop closed on Saturdays. He had 2 staff plus himself. So I rolled up. I rolled up there and said, "I hear you want to sell your shop. How much do you want for it?" Told me, I said, "That's what I'll buy it." So he just about fell over because it was, as I say, 4 times more. So, but anyhow, I could see the potential. And what happened? I got the 2 guys together. We gave the shop a good clean up. We spruced it up over the weekend. We put new advertising signs around and logo, what have you, and had new lighting, new shop window lighting, the Barris system. I don't know if any guys are aware of that. And the shop looked $1 million when we opened up on the Monday. And so the message was to these 2 other guys, there was 13 retailers down in New Brighton, and we've got to do things different. We just can't turn up and do steaks and chops. So we started value adding from that very moment. The other major thing was that I immediately joined in the Canterbury meat retailers. I was a member before that in my current position with MMM Meats, but we got involved with Retail Meat New Zealand. Now, so the next thing, during that year, we had a study tour to Australia, and I went over there with 3 good mates, Peter Timms, Alec Lamas, the late Alec Lamas from Motueka, and another good mate of mine that had another butcher shop in Motueka called Peter Berg. And we discovered marinades, we discovered kebabs, casseroles, stir fries, patties, all that sort of thing. So I brought Chinese honey into New Zealand and started to roll on with all these different types of products. We created the kebabs, we created beef Wellingtons, we did different cuts with lamb, and away we went. And I must say, the first week in that shop we did 3,500. The second week we did 7,000, and away it went, and we're on a roll. And the next big step for me was 1990, and I got an opportunity to go to Klumbach in Germany to a German master butcher's sausage course. And it totally, what I thought I knew about sausages and small goods, bacon and ham, it just threw everything out the window. And I can tell you, we still make our small goods that traditional way, and we still make it the German style. Now, you cannot make sausages with premixes. I'll let you in a little secret, and I can tell you how we make them. But you cannot make sausage with premixes, and we don't. There's two main functions in making a sausage. The first function is salt. It plays such a significant part in your binding, and the second thing is temperature control, right? Now, you can't biff it all in at once. It does not work. Okay, you might win sausage competitions with it. It might end up all right in your shop. You'll be up and down like a yo-yo, but I tell you, that is not how you make sausages. Salt plays such a functional ingredient in the operation. As we got going, we used to have the butchers would come from New Zealand to our shop and work in the shop. We opened it up through the meat retailers. For argument's sake, Rod's manager in Takapuna came and worked with us for a fortnight, see what we were doing, and away we went. And I'll get to another point with Nick in a minute, but Nick and I went around New Zealand demonstrating things as well. We're at award talks. Actually, Lee just reminded me about this today. Lee Sternfield's at the back, a good mate of mine with the shop at St Heliers. And Lee and I were at the award talks when we were assessors for the employers. And Robert Smith was there from Super Value, and he said, "I want your sausages." And I said, "Oh, okay," because I thought, well, you know, we're not going to last forever in New Brighton. And so the next day I arrived at the award talks with prices for him, and that was our Super Value. Linwood was our first supermarket, and it was about that time that I met Nick Harris. And Nick, how I met Nick was our Canterbury Meat Retailers meetings, and Nick came into town from his family business in Cheviot to do a finance degree at the Polytech, and he'd come along to our meetings, and I thought, gee, this is a bright young lad here. We need him. And Peter Timms and I talked to Nick. And after he got his degree, and we employed Nick to do our weekly results for Peter Timms Meats and Todd Heller Meats and his family business in Cheviot, and that's how Nick became involved with myself. When we moved to the new premises in Kaipoi, and we're getting into small goods, Nick became a shareholder in the business, but more about that in a minute. Now, what was significant in these days was, I'll just go to the next slide because it's, and then talk about it. Now, what happened here is Pack and Save Morehouse opened. This was a very significant part for us because Pack and Save Morehouse opened in Christchurch, and they took a few of my staff, and which was a disappointment at the time, but it was very beneficial to our business because they said you must have Todd Heller sausages. So from out the back of the shop in New Brighton, we were bloody supplying a Pack and Save, and so we had to have 2 shifts going. So we're working all night and all day making sausages for Pack and Save and all the Super Value group. And but that Pack and Save was a catalyst for all businesses in Christchurch to open 7 days, because they arrived and opened 7 days. So all the other supermarkets opened 7 days, and therefore New Brighton didn't have the pull that it used to have. So New Brighton was going down pretty fast, but I had the sausage business under control. We would, and one of the things, so New Brighton became doomed. So in 1993, February 1993, it's 20 years ago now, we moved out to this premises out here at Kaipoi, and we started in February of that year with myself and Nick and Peter Timmins as partners. Peter had his shops, he was a silent part of it, Nick and I run it, and we went out there with 10 of us, Nick and I and eight workers. And I think we made 10 tonne, didn't we, the first week? 10 tonne of sausages the first week. Okay, well, you know, and so what the opportunities we had, those days, you might remember, you had supermarkets doing stupid things like selling 10-cent sausages or 3 kilos of sausages for 99 cents, and in Christchurch all the sausage manufacturers were making sausages to compete with that price, so they were filled with water, which of course, too much water you don't get binding. Sausages were spearing everywhere, they're on flames every time it was a special. What we said, we're going to lose money every special. We're going to take on these specials, and that's going to be our advertising budget. We are going to make the sausages no different, just as bloody good as we can for those consumers, and then not come back and have hell. So that's the start of our branding, by getting people to enjoy our sausages. Now, another milestone here. You can see Nick was only a young fella in those days. Lovely photo of him. Yeah, I think that. I can't really read. Yeah, mate, some of you know the story, but anyhow, what happened, I went up to, I was on a plane going to Nelson, and anyhow, Gavin Wanglewood was on the plane, and Gavin Wanglewood had tasty bacon, and he said, shit, we're running out of room too, Todd, how are you getting out there? And I said, oh look, there's plenty of room, why don't you shift in with us? You go to the same supermarkets, we'll share the trucks, we'll share the administration, and we'll all save a bit of money and get a bit more efficient, and share the dispatch. So that was agreed, and Easter of that year, tasty bacon shifted in, and then Gavin had heart problems and become really sick. So Nick and I were running the business for him while he was sick, and then they decided, well, this is not good enough, we might as well join the two businesses together. So that's how we become Hella Tasty. And October, so we signed the deal on the Monday, the first Monday in October, put the two businesses together. Gavin and I went out and played twilight golf on the Tuesday night, and Gavin dropped dead on the golf course. So all of a sudden, we're in the bacon and ham business, and Christmas is coming on and everything else. So Nick and I thought, shit, what are we going to do here? So we had a team talk with the troops and said, we got all the ham orders in? Yes, we have. I said, well, look, let's don't take any more orders from anyone else. Let's make sure we do this absolutely correctly and get everyone supplied, and then we'll form a game plan for the following year. So that's how we got through. We've had some milestones during the way. During the, to get started, we had to buy second-hand equipment, and as we started to get money in the bank, we started buying new gear in the mid-90s, and we've never bought shit since. And we've always bought the best gear, and we've managed to keep that rolling. And it means at times that you're living sort of simple lives, and but there was always going to be a fruit tree at the end. We had when at that stage, when Gavin joined us, we put on a new sales manager called Mike Kiley. A lot of you guys here will know Mike. Mike died of diabetes, how long ago, Nick? 6 years ago. And Mike was inspirational for us. He treated the business like his own, and we all still miss him. And my other two colleagues from work here sitting down there, especially where Jason sitting there knows Mike first is dealing with Mike when Jason was in Progressive, and then later on in life as well. And then the second thing was our food technologist, and we had this guy turn up one day, and he said, "I'm looking for a job in New Zealand. I'm from South Africa. I've been working, I'm the head technician at Enterprise Foods in South Africa, and I want to bring my family out here." So I said, "Chit, you sound all right, I better get Nick in." I got Nick in and said, "Look, what else you got?" He said, "I'm going up to Auckland, I'm going to Tegel, I'm going to Shane Daly's and da-da-da-da-da." I said, "Well, if you haven't got a job, we'll employ you. We're just a bit young for you yet, but we're going to need one someday." Anyhow, we looked out the window, and here he was wandering up the buddy, past the paddocks up the road. Nick said, "What the hell's he doing?" I said, "Back right." I said, Nick raced in the car to see him. He said, "Oh, I'm just walking down to the Kaipoi to get a bus." So that sort of suited our mentality. He was a guy that didn't ride flash hair or anything else. He was a down-to-earth bugger going to go and get a bus to go back in the town. We employed him. And he still works. Poor old Rob had a stroke, but he's back pretty good now, and he works for us as a consultant. So, whoops. Oh, we got one missing here. Oh, I turned over too many. No, it doesn't matter. Anyhow, we've gone a long way from there. There's our original bacon that went out with our brand on it. That got us going in the marketplace. And there's our original sausage bags with the original Hellers logo. So we've gone from that. You'll see another slide shortly with a new one. There's our logo today over there, of course. Original ham, summer ham. Yep. And then a milestone. We just before we got involved with Sensational, or before we got involved with Sensational, we picked up the Beach brand, and we also